Let me take you through a week in my life as a self-taught luxury cake artist. This week for me started on a Sunday after church. I made a cake for my friend and I also crocheted this bag for her to surprise her. So I made the cake match the bag basically, black and gold, and I added some pink and purple florals, which were so pretty. I then packed the cake in my new and improved luxury packaging because packaging is so very important. It's the first thing that my customers will see, and I want them to be wowed. Moving on to Monday, I did no baking on this day, and that's because I was busy editing and recording a class all about fondant. In this class, I share my tips on how I transform budget-friendly supermarket fondant into something great for covering your cakes in. Using that same fondant, I share tips on how to cover your cakes to get a crisp and clean look. I basically show you that you do not need to spend a lot of money on fondant to achieve a professional look. On Tuesday, the messy work started, which was the baking. I baked all the flavors I needed: Oreo, chocolate, Biscoff, red velvet, marble, you name it. There was a lot of baking going on this day. I also made some white chocolate ganache. I'd say I use white chocolate ganache nearly all the time. Either I'm using it underneath fondant or just as the main thing itself. Here are all the cakes that I baked. It's a lot. And I'm happy. I was so exhausted though. I was very exhausted this day, but I'm happy I got through it. Thank you, Jesus. On Wednesday, I finished editing the fondant class and I made it live on my website. So it is now available for purchase. And that's at caketasia.co.uk. And there you can find other classes as well. That moves us on to Thursday. In the early midnight hours, I started off by making Swiss meringue buttercream to use for filling my cakes. And since it's for filling, this is the consistency that I like. I layered and filled a 6-inch cake, which was Biscoff in flavor, and an 8-inch cake, which was cookies and creams. And just look at the cake guts. Amazing. And the reason I cut it was to make it into a heart shape. After this, I moved on to making some cake taster boxes. And in my cake taster boxes, I include all 8 of my flavors, which are honestly a delight to taste. Don't they just look so appetizing when they're put all together? And of course, I have to package it in a way that will make my customers go, wow. When I was done, I had to head off my university student duties. And on my way back, I did some shopping and I started to design the toppers that I would be using for the cakes that I filled and crumb coated earlier in the morning. I slept when I got home and I woke up very early on Friday to complete the cakes that would be collected that day. The first design was this pink vintage heart cake and I added my own twist to it to make it more Caketasia style. The second design was a textured cake with neutral florals. Here are both of the cakes together. I finished them on time by the grace of God and I packaged them once again in my luxury packaging to make my customers very happy when they first see it. I then moved on to preparing the fondant that I'd be using for the cakes on Saturday and Sunday. I always have to modify my fondant before using it because if not, it will look like this and I will not have the control that I need to get that crisp, clean and smooth covering. So if you've been having problems with your fondant ripping, tearing, being too soft, then the class that I have on my website will be perfect for you. Next, I started to sketch the design for the cake that would be going out on Sunday. I had total free reign and I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I needed to sketch it out first to visualize it. On that same Friday, I went ahead and layered and filled all the cakes that I would be needing for the rest of the week. I also covered all the cakes in white chocolate ganache, ready for the next stage of decorating. This moves us on to Saturday, and once again, I worked throughout the midnight hours to get as much peace and quiet and space as I could get. Let's just give a beautiful moment for this gorgeous stencil. The white and gold. Mwah. I made some wafer paper decor that I would be using to decorate this cake that I'm working on. And honestly, I just love it. Even after I finished stacking, I was like, this cake is going to be amazing. And wait till you see the final product. Like, a cake is so good when you keep going back in your camera roll to check the cake. Amazing. But I had to park my excitement and continue with the rest of the cakes. The next 2 cakes are very simple. For this first one, I'm doing, what do you call this piping? Reverse roses? whatever it's called. Just look at this beautiful cake. Very nice and very simple. The next one was just chocolates and drips. Once again, very simple but very pretty. And of course, since they're all for the same day, I take a group video. And of course, you can see the older sister in the middle. Now it's Sunday. I woke up very early before church started to work on this cake. I'm working on the 3-tier cake that I showed you earlier. And what I did was color my prepped fondant, and then I started to roll it out, ready to cover all 3 tiers in fondant. I used one of my signature stencils on this cake and I painted it gold because gold and burgundy really goes together. And since I was making a tiered cake, I decided to film a class all about stacking cakes with confidence. So if stacking cakes is a struggle for you, stay tuned for that class. I added the final touches to this cake and I decided to match the cake Nigerian style. Anyways, this cake was just truly mesmerizing. I could stare at it all day. And I just love when I'm excited about the cake because I know that my customers will be too. For those that would like to book in with me and order a luxury cake, you can do so by filling out the relevant inquiry form on my website and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So this cake brings us to the end of the week. Thank you for watching.